So I really want to speak to follow on from what Simon just said. So could I walk? I can't walk over there. So over there, we've got the assumptions people make in terms of, and you started with thinking, didn't you? And this is very much where the work that I've been doing fits, is I would add into this that there's also a crisis of perception. There's a crisis of understanding cognition. You talked about a lot that's gone on here is you've talked about relationships, you've talked about values. There's been some conversation about emotions often getting in the way, frustration, etc. And my work is really based on the idea that we don't really understand our own minds. And when I say that, I mean embodied relational minds. I don't just mean the thing up here, because our minds are in a body with a nervous system and are completely interrelational and social. And we really don't understand that. And the hypothesis that my work is based on, and I say I've just done a 3-month program with senior civil servants, and I've run other programs, is that if you help people understand the kind of operating system, if you added that to understanding the systems, then something very different would happen. And my research would show that when people start to understand this system, the operating system, they actually realise why what they're doing doesn't work. So you can go from this way or that way, but from the systems way or the individual way in that sense. And people say, well, if that's what's true, if that is true about our minds, then you wouldn't organise a government like this. You wouldn't organise the process like this, because our minds aren't what we think they are. So I'm going to give you one of these. I don't know if some of you have seen it before. If you quickly take that round, quick as you can, I've only got 10 minutes. Okay, so you can see there, you've got A and B, 2 squares A and B. Which do you think is the lighter? Quick, I've only got 10 minutes. Right, now what I want you to do is kind of do a bit of origami and fold the middle out to that edge so that you can put the 2 next to each other, if that makes sense. Just kind of squeeze the middle into the edge. There you go, like Noreen has. She's done it, she's got it. Okay, so the brain is not designed to see reality. Okay, you are not designed to see reality. You are designed, and you're not designed. The brain's not designed to be happy either, as such. The brain is designed to survive. That's what the brain is designed to help this thing survive, this being survive, and so to kind of maintain some allostasis, homeostasis, to kind of maintain a level, a balance within the system, so it is safe and it will survive. So it doesn't see what is actually out there. It sees patterns. Right, so it sees the pattern of the checkerboard, and so it makes the checkerboard look like a checkerboard. So all you're seeing all the time, everyone is seeing, all your community participants are seeing are patterns. Now, what are those patterns based on? They're based on their own experiences. They're based on evolutionary kind of shortcuts we make in our decision making, which supermarkets really kind of make the most of. You know, that we prefer, if we see something moving, our attention will move there. You know, we're more likely to see certain colours at our kind of eye level. So we are all seeing something very different all the time. And we can't really underestimate that. And we talked about values, haven't we? And I get a little bit itchy around values. And that's because everybody believes they are doing the right thing. In my experience, everybody believes they're working from an intrinsic good value. The people that we think are doing evil things actually think they're doing good things. And that's so we've all got a completely different perspective on the same problem. And it's all valid. So the question I might ask you is, so do you trust your gut? Do you trust your intuition? Yes. Hands up, who trusts their intuition? Do you even know, so do you know what your intuition is? What do you think your intuition is?
It's an instinctive reaction, an immediate
feeling this right thing,
impulsive reaction.
So why does it feel like the right thing to do? Do you think?
It appeals to you.
So that's interesting, because what is a value?
It's also got something, for me, it's got something to do with like levels of disgust and tolerance and things like, you know.
So there, what is an emotion?
I think it comes from wisdom, because it comes from actually experience. Yeah.
But it's a response.
Wisdom is gut feeling, I think.
But it's a response to anxiety.
So you're assuming wisdom sounds like... Yeah. So this is interesting, isn't it? This is what I'm very curious about, because a lot of people work on, we have to work on our automatic minds. We have to work on a kind of gut reaction. What the gut reaction, we would say, is probably what it is that you've done this thing a number of times before, and you can't think every little thing through every time you need to do something new. So what your body does in a way is it encodes what you've done positively in a positive feeling. Right? So then, or you just go, oh yeah, that worked last time. So with firefighters, they would have an intuition that they should do this, that, or the other, which means they can put out a fire really quickly, because the more they've done something, the better their intuition will be. So that's key. The more they've done something, the better their intuition will be. But if something novel is in the field, they won't see it, because your intuition just sets you into an automatic mindset. So actually you should be slightly wary of your intuition if it's strongly in one direction or the other, because you're basing your, evolutionary wise, it's a really good thing to have, because it means you can actually operate in the world, but actually it potentially prevents you seeing something novel and different, which is actually when we're trying to change, when we're trying to be creative, when we're trying to do something different, when we're trying to see someone else's perspective, we've got to somehow get better at opening up to novelty and seeing something different. So yeah, because I put a lot in here, but I won't show it to you, because we've got this 10 minutes. So really the questions that are underlying what I do is, what do you understand about how we know, how we learn? Most of us haven't really had the opportunity to reflect on that. We're not taught it, and we have models of the mind in our heads, most of us, that are completely wrong about how the mind works, which is a kind of underpinning that I think affects our effectiveness in all the work that we're doing. Not just in our work, but as parents and partners as well. Completely affects. What do you understand about perception, how we perceive, what consciousness is? What do you understand about your embodied brain and how it actually knows something? So right now I stand in front of you. I'm a woman. I'm of a certain age. I'm wearing certain clothes. I'm speaking with a particular accent. It's not a Welsh accent. Maybe you can hear it's got a bit of South London in it. I'm from South London. Right now you will fit me into a box. Where did I grow up? What school did I go to? All that will have you've fitted me into some pattern. And then what I say will be affected by whatever pattern you have fitted me into. And it will obviously be wrong. It's not going to pick it up, is it? It's not going to, because you won't be able to really see who I am, because we haven't got that much time. And that's happening all the time. We start to call that unconscious bias. And that's when that starts to relate to diversity and equality. Because we can't do anything else. So there's no blame here, really. That's all you can do. There's maybe someone in your history that maybe looks a little bit like me, that you'll put me into that box, and you'll start to make associations relative to that. So that's the kind of work that I work on. This is a book that we've written all about behavioural government. This is the thing I start with. So I run programs, or we have been testing out programs which basically develop people's capacity to understand themselves. We use behavioural insights, which some of you might have come across, because governments are prepared to listen to psychology from behavioural insights, because it's kind of in the government regime. I was going to show you this, but I won't have time, I'm sure. How much time? Huh? Oh no, I was going to show you 2 minutes of it. Yeah, no, look, it says up there, 358 to 538. So what this will tell you is that our brains are not reactive, our brains are predictive. So our brains attempt to predict the future, to predict what's going to happen. We're actually kind of slightly ahead of ourselves in terms of what's happening. That's quite new in neuroscience, because before, the model of the brain would be that the brain's just fixed, it gets a stimulus, It kind of goes back and tries to make sense of that stimulus, and then it sees reality. And what they're saying now is that's not true. What actually is happening is that any one moment, all this stimulus goes into my brain, and I have to make choices about what I see. And those choices will actually, I've kind of already made them without knowing that I've kind of made them, because my brain is constantly trying to kind of predict what's going to happen. And whatever's there in front of me and whatever I expect to be there, I'll create some kind of middle way of what is actually there. Does that make sense? So I am actually creating my own reality in every moment. So the wonderful thing was that when I actually showed this, the latest cohort, and I'll finish, they really got it. In fact, some of this stuff, people said, oh, you can't really start courses getting senior civil servants to question what reality is. They won't like it. It's too challenging. It's hugely challenging. And they did sit there and go, yeah, that's great. Yeah, no, that totally fits. No, we should change the organisation entirely based on, these assumptions. Yeah.